discussions. And without further ado, let me now invite our first speaker, Dr. Sambat Kumar from Rahman Innovation from USA and Amazon's Alexa AI group. So, Dr. Sambat.
Thank you, Thank you, Dr. Adil.
Dr. Sambat, let me first introduce you.
Okay.
Sure. Dr. Sambat is a technology leader specializing in scalable solutions for humanitarian challenges. He's the founder of the Brahman, a tech-driven initiative supporting underserving humanity, and has developed AI-based tools for autism screening and inclusive policymaking, benefiting over 1 million individuals. As a former chair of IEEE SIGHT and laureate of the IEEE MGA Laurie Key Wilson Transitional Award, he currently serves as a senior technical program manager at Amazon's Alexa AI group. Dr. Sambat, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you, Dr. Adil. First of all, my warm greetings to everyone, and my sincere appreciation to ICESCO General Secretary, Sir, and the entire leadership team, and kudos to Dr. Adil, particularly bringing all of us together. So I think I have about 10 to 15 minutes, so I'll get started. So, my talk today is going to focus about advancing inclusive AI innovation for social impact. So in the next 10 minutes, I would like to give a 360-degree about how AI is continuing to play a transformative role. But as the General Secretary said, it's all about not only driving the innovation but also make it more inclusive in nature. So with that said, let me just transform this to full screen mode, and then I will keep going. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay.
Just give me 1 second. Let me just this one. Okay, there you go. Okay, so again, thank you for the warm introduction, Dr. Adil. So I'm a industry veteran here. I have delivered the world-class AI solutions on the industry avatar. In more than 190 countries today. Whatever technologies we have delivered has been massively used at a commercial scale. But what is really close to my heart is my role as the president of Brahman Innovation. So Brahman stands for the word knowledge. So we are a research institution based in Boston, US. What we do is we provide a portfolio of global programs to inspire, engage and transform, students into innovators globally. Today, I think, we have a presence in about 100 plus countries through our partnership. 40 plus partnership where we have access to over close to nearly about 250,000 students and innovators in our network. So without any further ado, let's quickly talk about where how AI is transformative in nature, right? So today, before we talk about AI, let's talk about the broader challenges globally, right? And that's where I think the UN Sustainable Goal comes into play, right? So there are about 17 goals which represents the 17 broader challenges, right? If you talk about eradicating poverty or providing free access to, access to education or healthcare or equitable access, it's all it's a common challenges that is faced by ICESCO state nations, right? So the UN SDGs provides a blueprint for us, right? And why it is important primarily for AI innovators, particularly like policymakers, is that if you provide a systematic solution to these challenges, it provides a scalable in a way to make a greater impact across the ICESCO member state. So with that brief note about SDGs, let's talk about quickly about what are the major challenges as we speak, right? We are living in the age of AI, right? I mean, most of us today, the way we live, interact, in the era of generative AI now, everything is AI is truly integrated, right? When you walk, I think your smartwatch measures your calories and heart rate. If you come in US, even the refrigerators provides you recipes to make for your breakfast and lunch. And then if you're watching a movie or a song in YouTube, there are recommendation systems, machine learning based recommendation system, which actually provides understands your patterns of interaction and provides guidance, right? So it's truly integrated. But the other end, we have major global challenges, right? About 1 billion people are still living in extreme poverty, right? About 30 percentage of world's food is wasted, right? So one end we have people who are hungry and they are extremely poor poverty. Another end, about 30% of the world food we are wasting, right? And then if you look through, there are about 3 billion people still have lag access to cooking fuels and so forth. So the bottom line here is, at one end we have this transformative technology. Then the other end, what we have is, we have about 40 to 50% of world's population still don't have access to the benefits of this technology. So the idea is, how do we leverage AI, and how do we think AI can produce an inclusive environment, especially addressing these global challenges? So again, one important aspect here is that technology alone cannot deliver an inclusive ecosystem. You really need to work in an ecosystem. You have to create an ecosystem where we partner with the local communities, international institutions like ICESCO, and also governmental agencies. So we provide a collective framework for people to come together and leverage the technology as a mechanism to provide an inclusive and collaborative, like a way to address the global challenges. And that's where the field of social impact and social innovation comes into play. And this is a very simple example where we say that the community has a needs, and that needs drives the innovation, whether it's science, whether it's advancements in science or any products you create in technology. It's tightly coupled there. So and that's where I think the field of humanitarian engineering and social impact comes into play. As I said here, let's look at how AI is very very appropriate candidate to provide this to provide an inclusive setup to address these global challenges. So first of all, if you look at the global challenges, they are significant in nature, as we saw, right? But at the same time, there's one thing that's common across the challenges, which is basically, if you start analyzing this each of this domain, it provides a massive opportunity of data, right? Because the scale of the problem is huge, right? And that becomes AI to be a great fit, right? I mean, I mean, AI today can address massive amount of data, right? 10 years back, we talk about creating a machine learning system or a AI powered solution. You needed massive infrastructure. You need to own a massive infrastructure. You need that expertise, right? But today with Gen AI, we can even like perform complex tasks and automation in a single click solution, right? So that makes AI to be a very, very appropriate candidate here, right? Second, the speed at which now solutions can be delivered, it's almost like a fraction of a second. In other words, a fraction of your thought process, right? And that is why incrementally AI is penetrating fields like education, healthcare, as we see, right? And third, it's more like providing personalized decision making, right? And last but not the least, we have to make sure the solutions are not only accessible at a high end, but it should work in low resource setting, right? We should have an offline mode, mobile first solutions, which could actually empower the local communities. So,
الإكسرسايز جوج ثلاثة
hello, I think someone is talking.
Yes.
أربعة خمسة ستة تبعنا ستة كيستيون في short answers.
Yusra, could you please mute your mic? Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. So particularly when we talk about today, right, I think, I mean, this is a fantastic series, right? I mean, if you look at the global challenge right now, there are at least 5 important areas. It's very, very, AI plays a vital role, especially when we are talking about creating an inclusive environment, right? So latching on to what the General Secretary said, right, I think we need to look at 3 important aspects here, right? One is creating the awareness. webinars like this, provides that awareness to our end audience. And second, we need to create an ecosystem of solution development, right? Not only providing an awareness, but also like converting your awareness to action. That is going to be key, right? And that's where domains like healthcare, agriculture, climate resilience, and education are going to be very, very key actually. Now, let's talk about, how do we deliver an inclusive environment, right? At one end, we are talking about this greater AI technologies like ChatGPTs, Gen AI, large scale, language models. But how do we really provide an inclusive environment? That is where I think the design thinking has to come into play, right? And that's where we look in four unique aspects based on the framework of social impact. The first one is the community insight, right? So you need to think globally, but you need to act locally. That means you partner with the local community and you understand what is the current state of the community and what is the needs actually. You work backwards from the community needs. Second, you need to bring together, grassroots innovation, right? That means you need to engage with the engineering expertise in your local country or in your local region by connecting with international institutions like ICESCO or international partnering organizations like Brahman or IEEE and so forth, right? And third, you want to make sure there is enough opportunity for people to innovate at the grassroots level where they can transform an idea into incubator, and in turn the incubator can convert to an entrepreneurship ecosystem. And last but not the least, you need the policymakers to provide a responsible AI governance to make sure we minimize the risk of bias, and we also want to make sure that there's a benefit to the local community, and that is how we need to make sure that the technology framework alone is not sufficient. We need to have an inclusive innovation framework that can take the technology, but again the technology is developed based on the needs of the local community. And that's where I think the grassroots innovation is very, very key when it comes to inclusive, right? I mean, you look at the local challenges and you understand the cultural context, right? And it's also important to understand what is the resource constraint, right? In US, I have access to 1 GB network, but I cannot develop a solution, an AI-powered solution, which can only operate at high bandwidth. I want to make sure the solution is, implementable and deployable and accessible in low cost setting, whether it's in Africa or any part of the world, And some examples here where I think the importance of low cost solution and also locally developed is going to be key, especially in ICESCO member state, is going to be like on agriculture, where AI could be leveraged for smart agriculture, right? Where we could empower farmers with solutions where they can quickly understand any diseases that impacting the plants, and how they could how could they increase their yields basically, right? Second, on healthcare, right? How do we provide prediction models for speeding up diagnosis and also empower the local healthcare workers and doctors? In that way we could support early intervention of key diseases. Third is climate resiliency, and the fourth one is the digital, educational platform, where we provide AI-powered capacity building to empower the students, right? So, in a nutnet, it is very, very important not only leveraging AI as a transformative solution, but also use it as an inclusive technology. And here are some pointers where I think AI is going to have a tremendous global opportunity, right? I mean, we have a huge, audience of youth population. How do ICESCO can deliver capacity building program like the one what we have? How do we tie up with strong universities, right? I mean, how do we provide innovation labs basically at the grassroots level? And as I said earlier, how do we transform this idea into actionable solutions into product and innovations, right? And this is going to be very, very key, because if you don't have this connected framework, then it becomes a one-off program and then it falls apart, And that's where I think where we are coming into play. We are very thrilled with our partnership, Brahman Innovation. As I said, we are very thrilled with our partnership with, ICESCO. We are a global leader on social impact. Today, we offer a portfolio of global programs in the social innovation space, particularly focused on AI and quantum technologies and so forth. And our mission is to actually empower 1 million innovator by 2035, right? And today we have major programs in North America, Asia, Africa, and Middle East, So now we spoke about how AI is important, and we also spoke about to create an inclusive environment, what is needed. Now, what quickly will do is we'll run down how social innovation is used as a framework to propagate or accelerate, the inclusive AI-powered innovation, right? So that we'll quickly will look through it. So every time you want to deliver an inclusive environment, the field of social impact is very, very critical because it brings in engineering, innovation, and it closely ties in with the needs of the local community, and then it empowers the policy maker, right? And that intersection is what is needed right now, whether you want to address the UN SDG goals or you want to provide an inclusive environment. That's where I think Brahman Innovation, we work closely with ICESCO as well, to deliver partnering programs. And there are four major pillars we focus into. One is the community-centered programs, and we provide the R&D programs for the students and for the universities, and we provide an ecosystem of programs to take AI-powered technology to drive inclusive development at the grassroots level. Last but not the least, we have a global partnership network of about more than 40 global partners, including ICESCO and world leaders like IEEE, where, as I said, we are continuing to empower roughly about 200,000 innovators every year. So with that said, there are a few global impacts of our trajectory. I'm not going to talk about this in detail. But what I would rather want to point out is that so far our solutions have benefited over 1 million people, and as I said, our programs have a tremendous impact in about 52 countries, and our ecosystem have access to more than 200,000 students and educators, through the world. Now, with that said, there are two dimensions here I want to show, and then I want to close out. So inclusive development does not operate in silo. So you want to provide a framework for developing technology, world-class AI power technology. Second, we want to provide also like world-class programs through our partnerships, so which could promote and foster this environment of ecosystem. So in terms of AI-powered solution, Brahman focuses on 5 different aspects through our partnership with ICESCO. One is community-centered problem discovery, right? We partner with universities, world-class institutions to understand what is really needed in the region. Second, we support the creation of AI innovation labs, so we could train the students, provide them fellowship program, so they can actually convert their ideas into AI-powered technology. And then we provide an ecosystem to make that an incubator, right? And fourth, we work with international institutions like and agencies to provide an ethical framework where we could keep continuing to drive inclusive development of responsible AI solution. Last but not the least, scaling. We want to scale out across the board. Okay. So these are some examples where I'm going to quickly run through in the split of time. I'm going to keep it short here. But one key call out here is that we spoke about the community and we spoke about the engineering role. But what is also equally important from governance standpoint is we need unified global standards, because anytime you want to develop AI for social good and that to be inclusive, you want to make sure that the solutions are transparent, there is a sense of fairness and inclusivity. You want to make sure there's a check for bias, and you want to make sure that it's truly like beneficial and minimizes the risk due to hallucinations and so forth. So that is why like the implementation of AI standards and local governance is going to be very, very key. Not only that, there has to be a public-private partnership, where the industry and the local academy and policy makers take this governance and roll it out, at the grassroots level. So with that said, if you want to truly be successful, I think, as I said earlier, we really have to foster organically grown homegrown innovation. So that is only possible when we partner with local universities, governmental institutions, non-profit organization, and industry partnership. That's going to be key. So with that said, I would like to close out to identify a few areas where the ICESCO member states could be beneficial. If you want to truly take AI as an inclusive mechanism, then I think we need to have AI-centered programs where we promote the students and universities to put their talent and convert their ideas into actionable solutions. And then, as I said, to build the partnerships between the local NGOs, government agencies, where we create increasing awareness and provide resources to transform their ideas into solutions. So last but not the least, here are some examples of the solutions what we
ده
have
هم ما
delivered.
عملوش محضر، ما الراجل قال لهم لو عملتوا محضر هتقعدوا للصبح عشان تتعرضوا في النيابه.
Okay. So this is the
بالظبط
last
كده.
30-second slide to show basically what
ما
kind
هو
of
الراجل
technology that's coming in.
منه لله الضلال الكذاب
Could you please
المزور ده مسخر.
could you please mute your mic on the participants, please?
ما كانوش بقى عن
Unmute myself. Okay. Okay. So just a quick slide on a few one, then I will close out here. So this are some examples of how AI has played a tremendous role in empowering disabled children. And one example here from Brahmam. So this is an autism screener we developed, which got rolled out in India. Now we are expanding in Africa. So within 30 minutes, the technology will help people to know if there is an early intervention of development delays in children as early as 18 months. Second, another example here is about creating a holistic framework to detect people with disability. And the third one here is about agriculture. So this is about, again, on healthcare, where we used the latest Gen AI models, where in the click of your technology, you will be able to understand if you have a symptom, what kind of medical test you need to take. And then it provides a quick access to the medical team, well before the patient arrives. It shows them, like, what kind of conditions they have. Now, how do we speed up the intervention process here, right? And here the third one is the crop cure. This was developed again in our partnership with the Ocean to Sand, where we want to empower the farmers with a very, very straightforward, simple solution, where we leverage Gen AI models to actually look at the images of the plants and crops and tell them what kind of problems or they are seeing and what is the mitigation for that. Third, I think we also want to democratize the satellite building. So we also have a nanosat play that's being developed, where people can learn how to build a satellite and they can play out, with different designs of satellites. So this is just a 360-degree view about what kind of solutions that is possible in your home, in your local backyard, understanding the needs of the local community. And these are some world-class programs that today Brahma provides freely for our members to have access. And as you know, IEEE is the world's largest professional organization. So we have a blended learning program where we provide a huge corpus of AI-centered training programs and also the certification from IEEE, which is a world standard body here, right? So this is again a very interesting area. If you have interest, take a look at this one. These are some examples of the program. I'm not going to go into depth. And I also wanted to call out here our successful partnership between IDCS and ICESCO as well, where we started last 2 years in Morocco. We started the Apathon program and Hackathon program, where we focused on encouraging AI-powered, healthcare-centric solutions to benefit the local audience. And we are very proud with ICESCO here. With that, I'm going to stop here. This is a global innovation challenge. What we had this year in 2025, we had it in in Morocco, in Casablanca. This is an example here. So with that said, I want to stop here and say that AI is important, but I think what is really important is the inclusive nature. And again, with that said, today we have this huge opportunity for partnership, and especially for students attending this webinar, we have a free fellowship program in our partnership with ICESCO. So register for it, and if you're open to partnership, write to us. And with that said, I will stop here.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sampath, for your valuable insights. We totally agree on the importance of converting awareness into action. So thank you very much. Please stay with us for the discussion. And
Absolutely,
I'm
sir.
sorry, I'm sorry to wake you, wake you this early. I think it's around 5 o'clock in the morning in Boston, right?
Absolutely. Yes, sir. I think 4:45 joined in. Yes, it's 5:30 right now. Yes.
Apologize for that. So please stay with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now we move on to our second speaker, Professor Akram Zaki. Dr. Akram is a professor at the International Islamic University of Malaysia in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, where he holds key academic and leadership roles. He has supervised over 30